Hello, my dear students. Welcome you all to Sri Jayendra Rank Zone classes. I am your mentor and your friend for the subject biology, and I will be taking the zoology part, that is animal science. My dear students, today we are going to start with disorders of kidney. In this lecture, we will study about different disorders of kidney, the method of osmoregulation, osmoconformation. So starting with the disorders of kidney, we will begin with a very important term that is basically pyelonephritis. Pyelonephritis. Pyelonephritis, it is an inflammation of renal pelvis. It is the inflammation of renal pelvis, calyx, the major and minor calyx, and interstitial tissue. And interstitial tissue. Pylos means straw, nephros means kidney, and itis means inflammation. It is due to the local bacterial infection. Bacteria reach here via urethra and ureter. Inflammation affects the counter-current mechanism and the victim fails to concentrate urine. Symptoms of the disease include pain in the neck, pain in the back, backache, and frequent and painful urination. Frequent and painful urination. So pyelonephritis, it is the inflammation of renal pelvis, major and minor calyx, and interstitial tissue. It is a bacterial infection. The bacteria reach these regions like renal pelvis, calyx, and interstitial tissue through urethra or ureter. The inflammation causes swelling and thereby the countercurrent mechanism is affected. Because of affected countercurrent mechanism, the victim fails to concentrate urine. Symptoms of the disease are backache, pain in back, and frequent and painful urination. Then the second term is glomerulonephritis. Glomerulonephritis, it is the inflammation of glomeruli. It is the inflammation of glomeruli. It is caused by injury to the kidney, bacterial toxins, drug reaction, etc. It may cause due to the injury, that is trauma. Okay. Bacterial toxins and drug reaction. Proteins and red blood corpuscles pass into the filtrate. So glomerulonephritis is the inflammation of glomeruli. It is caused by injury to the kidney, secretion of bacterial toxins may cause infection or inflammation, and it may due to drug reaction. Proteins and RBC pass into the filtrate, which leads to the drop of blood pressure along with the loss of RBCs in urine. The third term is cystitis. It is the inflammation of urinary bladder. Cystis means bladder and itis means inflammation. It is caused by bacterial infection. Patient has frequent and painful urination, often with burning sensation. So cystitis is inflammation of urinary bladder. It is caused by bacterial infection. The patient has frequent and painful urination, often with burning sensation. Then comes uremia. It is the presence of an excessive amount of urea in the blood. It results from decreased excretion of urea in the kidney tubules due to bacterial infection, nephritis, or some mechanical obstruction. Urea poisons the cells at high concentration. So uremia is the presence of an excessive amount of urea in the blood, which is due to failure of kidney tubules to excrete urea due to bacterial infection known as nephritis. The failure of excretion of urea may be due to mechanical obstruction, and urea, it poisons the cell at very high concentration and may lead to different other complications. Okay. Now coming to next, kidney stone or renal calculi. It is formed by the precipitation of uric acid or oxalate. So precipitation of uric acid or oxalate may lead to the deposition in the interstitial tissues of kidney. It blocks the kidney tubules. It causes severe pain known as renal colic in the back, spreading down to the thighs. The stone may pass into the ureter or urinary bladder and may grow and cause severe pain of backache. When in bladder, the patient experiences frequent and painful urination and may pass blood in the urine. Surgery may be needed to remove stone and relieve pain. So, kidney stone or renal calculi, it is formed by the precipitation of uric acid or oxalate. It blocks the kidney tubule. It causes severe pain, that is renal colic, in the back, spreading down to thighs. The stone may pass into the ureter or urinary bladder and may grow and cause severe pain of backache. When in bladder, the patient experiences frequent and painful urination and may pass blood in the urine. Surgery may be needed to remove stone and relieve pain. Kidney failure, partial or total inability of kidneys to carry on excretory and salt water regulatory functions is called renal or kidney failure. Result of kidney failure leads to uremia, excessive amount of urea and other nitrogenous waste in the blood, salt water imbalance, and stoppage of erythropoietin secretion. So kidney failure can be acute or can be chronic. Okay. Many factors can cause kidney failure. Among these are the trauma, tubular injury, infection, bacterial toxins, glomerulonephritis, inflammation of glomeruli, arterial or venous obstruction, fluid and electrolyte depletion, intrarenal precipitation of calcium and urates, drug reaction, and hemorrhage. So these are the possible causes of renal failure, that is kidney failure. Kidney failure or renal failure, it can be acute as well as it can be chronic. Okay. So we learn about pyelonephritis, which is the inflammation of renal pelvis, cystitis, which is the inflammation of urinary bladder, glomerulonephritis is the inflammation of nephrons along with glomeruli, uremia, high blood urea, kidney failure, renal calculi. Now comes artificial kidney. Before coming to artificial kidney, I would like to tell you the micturition reflects the process of voiding of urine or micturition. Okay, so I will be adding one slide, or we move to this slide. Yeah, the process of voiding of urine or micturition reflex. Presence of stretch receptors on the wall of urinary bladder. So the micturition reflex or the voiding of urine is basically carried by transmission of impulse from the stretch receptors which are present on the wall of urinary bladder. The sympathetic nervous system is responsible for filling of bladder. That is for distension of bladder. So it is responsible for filling of bladder, the distension of bladder, the bladder become relaxed. The urethral sphincters are constricted. Stretch receptors are stimulated on filling of bladder. The pudendal nerve gets inhibited. The parasympathetic nervous system is activated when the pudendal nerve is inhibited. Inhibition of pudendal nerve also inhibits the sympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system is activated, bladder is contracted, sphincters are relaxed, and urine passes out of urethra. The urine passes out through urethra. Okay. So the parasympathetic nervous system is activated. The moment parasympathetic nervous system gets activated, okay, the bladder gets contracted and the sphincters they get relaxed. As the bladder gets contracted and the sphincters are relaxed, urine passes into urethra. Urine basically passes into urethra. So this is basically the control of voiding of urine, that is micturition reflex. The micturition reflex is controlled both by sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, so please remember that both parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. It is not like that only one system is going to control it. Okay, now the muscles which are associated with the contraction of urinary bladder or the relaxation of urinary bladder mean the detrusor muscles and the pudendal nerve. They are under the direct influence of these parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. Okay. So micturition is basically a reflex which is developed with the help of these, you know, movements. Okay. The conduction of urine, the urine is basically drained continuously by the nephrons into the renal pelvis. So from nephrons, it enters to renal pelvis. Okay. From renal pelvis, it is carried down the ureters by peristaltic waves. Peristaltic waves to ureters, and from here it enters into the trigone muscles and body of urinary bladder. Okay. The bladder serves to store the urine temporarily, and it also passes it at a suitable intervals. The process of passing out of urine from the urinary bladder is called urination or micturition. As the urine gets collected, the muscular walls of the bladder get distended to accommodate it more. Distension of its walls stimulates the sensory nerve endings in the bladder wall, and this sets up the reflex, which causes an urge to pass out urine. During the discharge of the urine, the bladder and the urethral sphincters get relaxed. So during discharge of urine, avoiding of urine, most important, okay, the bladder and urethral sphincters relax. They get relaxed. Okay. The smooth muscles of the bladder during the discharge of urine gets contracted. They will get gradually contracted. Get gradually contracted. Okay. The urine passes slowly from the bladder through the urethra to the exterior. The reflux of the urine into the ureters is prevented because of the terminal parts of the ureters which pass obliquely through the bladder. Is prevented as the entry of ureters oblique. Okay. Relaxation and contraction of the urinary bladder are caused by impulses from the sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve fibers. Okay, as we have studied in the previous slides. Okay, so we have discussed the process of discharge and the filling of urinary bladder with urine, which is controlled by sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous pathways. Okay, is that clear? I hope that is clear to everyone. Now, micturition reflex center is present in the pons and is connected to the cerebrum. Connected to the cerebrum. Okay, so this is the micturition reflex, how the pudendal nerve. Most importantly, the external sphincter is voluntary and the internal sphincter is involuntary. Sorry, it's voluntary. Involuntary. The external sphincter is voluntary and the internal sphincter is involuntary. Okay? Now, now we are going to talk about the osmoregulation, osmoconformation. Okay? I will change the ink. Animals that change their body osmolarity according to the external medium. Animals that can change the osmolarity of body according to external medium. Example are invertebrates and myxine, which is a hagfish. Okay? Is a vertebrate. Osmoregulators. Animals that maintain a constant osmolarity of body. that maintain a constant osmolarity of body fluids irrespective of external medium. Animals that maintain constant osmolarity of body fluids irrespective of external environment. Examples: vertebrates except myxine. The organisms living in fresh water. Hypotonic to the osmolarity of body fluids. If the condition is the urine which is excreted is hypotonic to the osmolarity of body fluids, okay, what are the different problems? Okay, so in fresh water that is hypotonic to the osmolarity of body fluids, the problems are that body gains water. And body loses ions. Okay, the freshwater protozoans have to lose their water by contractile vacuoles. Lose their water with the help of contractile vacuole. Okay, freshwater organisms produce dilute urine. Excrete dilute urine. Okay, bony fishes, they are telostylic, do not drink water, but produces dilute urine. Okay, inocytes of chloride cells, on gill membrane, actively transport sodium ions and chloride ions from exterior medium to inside the body. My dear students, rest all will be discussed in the next lecture. Okay, this is the introduction of that how osmo regulation, osmo confirmation is done. Okay, so I will take your leave today. Bye bye. Take care. Stay safe. Stay healthy.